Hi everyone and welcome back to another video after so long with me, Gingerbexxi. It has actually been so long since I actually done a video, so sorry about that, but I'm here now. It's been a bit of a I don't know, I actually can't remember when the last time I'd done a video. It was like a year and a half ago or something, so it was quite a while ago, so sorry. But anyway, I'm here now. I am just back from Texas. Well, I'm just back. I got back on Monday at like 6 p.m. And it is now Wednesday afternoon-ish. But it was like the first time that I actually felt awake enough to do anything, and actually when I say awake enough, I've not been to sleep really. I fell asleep about 6 a.m. this morning and woke up about 9. Mostly because of the jet lag, of course. 6 a.m. here is like midnight there. So that was like right about bedtime, so it's been really hard to get back into the swing of like being back here. And I mean that sounds really stupid because I was only there for 2 weeks, but it was awesome. Sorry, I'm not comfortable. Give me a second. So yeah, I don't even know where to start. I'll start from the start. This is actually going to be probably a longer video, so I mean, if you want to like watch it in 2 parts or whatever, feel free. I just don't know where to start. Well, first of all, let's the very beginning. I booked this holiday back in June last year. I booked it the week after the Acon Comic Con finished, and the day after, sorry, because that was what I was going for. I was going for Acon. And that was all I wanted to do, was go to Acon, which it was its 30th year anniversary as well, and it was just going to be absolutely outstanding. So that was my plan, was to get everything ready, go away to Acon and have just a fantastic time. Acon, by the way, is an anime convention in Texas, in Fort Worth. So, and it was 30 years. It used to be in Dallas like years ago, and then they moved into Fort Worth, and it was a great location and everything apparently, and so yeah, that was going to be awesome. 30th year anniversary, so it was obviously going to be quite big. Well, so I booked my flights, and I booked quite good flights actually, because I really wanted to, it was going to be like a once in a lifetime trip for me really. Because I want to actually visit like more of the world as well, so Fort Worth, I wasn't really too fussed about ever going back to it. So I booked really good flights, knowing that it was going to be a once in a lifetime thing. I booked a really good hotel, all non-refundable, all like non-changeable, because I just wanted to, if I was going, I just wanted to go, and I wanted nothing to stop me from going. So if I had booked it and paid for it, that was it. There was nothing that was going to stop me from going. And I was really excited. Like, you have no idea how excited I was. So that was in the June that I done all this. And I mean, the hotel and the flights cost me £2,000 ish together, so a lot of money for me. I'm a paralegal, we don't really earn that much money. So that was, you know, that was that for a while. Kind of forgotten my other stuff. Still excited for that, of course, but I had other things to do, other things to look forward to, and that was me for a while. Apart from that, by the way, I've not really been doing much. I've been doing more drawings, which have been getting pretty, like, even by my standards, have been getting not bad. I've done a lot more on the digital art as well. But apart from that, it's just been like, just getting by. So that was why I've not really done a video, by the way, is because there's really nothing that's been going on either. So, I mean, there's been a few bits and bobs, but anyway, so that was in the June that I booked all that. And then in the August, my car got written off. Some numpty drove into the side of me when I was coming round the roundabout, and it was completely their fault and everything. I was in the car, my best friend was in the car as well. Thankfully she wasn't hurt. I had whiplash and a sort of crack in my collarbone, and it was horrible. I had the car for a month and it got written off, which was horrible. I had to like spend a lot of money, paying off the car and everything like that, so that was really not expected. Quite horrible as well. I went to London for the first time, and I went to Newcastle for the first time as well, so those were around at the same time as well, which was pretty good. So that was like pretty much the only things that really happened after June. And in January. Now after like my car being written off, and I mean I went to London and Newcastle, and those were just trips, but they did cost a wee bit more money than what I thought. So by January I was pretty skint, like after Christmas and things, and I was like, right, it's fine because I can still afford to go to Texas. That's fine. And then the news came. It was like the 18th of January, and I don't know why I remember the date, but I just do, because it was such a big thing. 18th of January came, and Akon, I hadn't heard anything from Akon at all. They normally start like announcing guests like in like September, October time, and they hadn't announced anything at all. And they put out a thing saying they had changed their dates, and basically, I mean, I had non-refundable, non-changeable flights and non-refundable, non-changeable hotels. So to change my flights, because I had 4 flights in total, like Edinburgh to London, London to Dallas, Dallas to London, London to Edinburgh. So I had 4 flights, and to change them, there were £150 per flight to change. So that was going to cost me £600 just to change the flights. And then the hotel, I was actually going to have to pay off the hotel, which was £1,200, and then book another place. So it was far too much money. I mean, it was quite cost me like £2,000 plus to change my dates. So I was very, very upset, as you can imagine. Like more upset than it put me in a really, really big slump for quite a few months actually. Really, really, really depressed about it. Not just, oh damn, I can't go to Akon. It was like the anticipation of it, and then suddenly like that, it was all gone. Like, what the hell am I going to do now? And I had the decision to make, like, do I just cut my losses and not go? I'd lose £2,000. I'd save money from like the money I was saving to spend whilst I was over there, but I would still lose like the flights and the hotel. So I had to make the decision, like, what do I do? And I decided at that point, no, it's fine, I'll just go. It's going to be far too much money to cancel at this time. So that was that. And then it was about 2 months before. Now I've been putting my money into my savings account, so that, like, because it was like pay the property for the hotel, so I put all the money in my savings account, and it was basically just I'll just transfer it over when I'm going to pay it. Well, they tried to take the money about 2 months before I went. They tried to take the money out the only account that I can like use abroad, and so they tried to take the money out of that account. And of course there was no money, well, there was no money in that account, but there wasn't enough to cover the hotel, so they cancelled on me. And at this point I'm thinking, right, well, the biggest reason why I couldn't cancel was because like the hotel was going to cost me so much money. So at that point again I had to think, do I cancel like now? Like, because I mean the hotel was a lot of money, and if I didn't have to pay that, I would lose out on the flights, but they were, you know, I think it was like £879 or something, and it's a lot of money to me. But I thought, well, what else is going to go wrong? So anyway, eventually I made up my mind that, you know what, fuck it, basically I'm just going to go. So I did. I booked another hotel, which, and actually when I got there, it was I actually quite liked the area that I was in, like that specific area. When you went like out the hotel and down to the left, there was a place called Westover Hills, and apparently that's not a really good area, and I went through it to get up to the Stockyards at one point, and I'll tell you about that in a minute anyway. So anyway, I got that hotel, and it was through booking.com, and I got the confirmation through and everything like that. I actually emailed them as well about like how like the best way for payment is, about like cash card or credit card, whatever. So I had actually emailed them about that as well, and so that was it. That was totally fine. Everything was all sorted. And then, I mean, I was so excited, like that weekend. I was so glad that I hadn't cancelled the weekend that I was going, because I was so freaking excited for getting away. And so, I mean, my sister took me to the airport, and we had a cup of tea in Starbucks, and like she went and stood with me until I could check in. And then like when I checked in, that was it. Like that was me. I was by myself. So I went on the flight down to London. I was in London for like 6 hours, and I actually just sat and watched, what did I watch? I watched Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, by the way, fucking awesome. And I sat and watched that because I had it on like Netflix. You can download to watch offline on Netflix. So I watched the Fullmetal Alchemist, and I had like a couple of ciders, and then it was time to get on the plane to go away. Oh, I was so nervous. I was so like, I had been like all the stuff that had happened before the holiday, and all I could think was like, what else can go wrong? I mean, am I going to get on the wrong flight or something? But I got on the flight no problem. As soon as I sat down on that flight like that, I was sleeping because I was so tired. I hadn't actually slept a lot the night before, mostly because I was very tired. I was very excited, sorry, and I had to leave at like 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the airport. So like, I had a nap during the day. I had been up at like 6 in the morning and I checked in online and I had a nap during the day, and then yeah, so I was really, really tired. So I slept as soon as I sat down on the flight. But of course, I had probably the most arrogant person in the whole world sitting in front of me, and he had his chair back. As soon as I'd opened my eyes, that was the first thing, was the chair. It was only about maybe that away from my face, so I couldn't bend down to get my bag or anything like that. So I had to just sit with this chair in my face, unable to move for most of this flight, which was not great, by the way, just saying. And eventually they came round with the dinner, and the girl saw like how much space I actually had, and she had to say to the guy, like, you'll have to, because I mean I had it right the way back, she says you'll have to like bring your chair forward so that, you know, the girl behind you can eat. So that wasn't, you know, fantastic. And eventually, I mean, he kept the chair, like, that was like 5 hours into the flight. He kept the chair forward. It wasn't 5 hours, it must have only been about 3. But no, so he kept the chair forward for like a big chunk of it, so that was fine. But you know, I went right down. Hold on a second. So yeah, that wasn't like having him like right in my, like that chair right in my face for most of the flight wasn't great. But again, he eventually put it back, and I got, you know, it was quite a good flight. Like after that anyway. I got so excited as well because like we flew over Canada, and like looking down, I mean I'm terrified of heights, and I was actually speaking to someone recently about it. Like I'm terrified of heights, but see, like when I'm in the air it's fine, but like the closer I get to the ground, that's like the more scared I get, is the closer that I get to the ground. But like when I'm in the air, I love looking out the window on a plane. It's just amazing. So anyway, looking out the window and I'm seeing everything, and it was so cool. And like, yeah, we flew over Canada, and we flew over the Salt Lakes. I can't actually remember. I think it's the Salt Lakes. I don't know. There was a big fucking lake anyway. And is it Missouri or Massachusetts? I can't. It was one of the big states anyway, and I can remember looking at it going, "Holy shit, that's that state! Oh my god!" But so I can't remember. Like, there's no point in me even trying to think because I can't remember. So eventually, anyway, we're flying over Texas as well, and like after I found out that Acon wasn't going ahead, I was like, right, well I need to find something to do whilst I'm there. So I eventually I googled everything I could find, like as much as I could possibly get. Like I googled everything. Oh, there's a Olaf here and a Olaf bot. Sorry about that. And yeah, and I had like thought like I can go to this town and that town and the next town. And then like when I was flying over Texas, and I was seeing like all these, because there was a little map on the back of the chair, and I was seeing all these towns. I was like, oh, that's that one and that one, that one, that one. I was getting so excited, and then we got closer to the ground. I was like, nope, can't do this. And anyway, so I got off the flight, and that was, you know, that was all fine. Got through security, no problem. Got my suitcase, no problem. I was a bit worried about the case because like I was changing flights, and the guy said it was like right through to the end, and I was like, but is it? But it was fine. I got my case okay. I got out, and I got the bus from Terminal D to Terminal B, and then I got the train from the airport into the Fort Worth bus station, because I wasn't actually, like, I didn't take a car. Like I didn't rent a car, because like I was a bit short on funds by this time. So and it was just going to cost like way too much money to hire a car. So I was like, well, just get the bus. Why not? That's what I would do here. So I did. And so by the time I got to the bus station, however, the bus had left because I was late, and that was the last bus. And I was like, oh well, shit. So I managed to get a taxi, but the taxi driver, he quoted me $20, and then he charged me $40 when we actually got there. So I was really pissed at that. He also took me to the wrong hotel. I mean, I could see my hotel from where I was like standing, but it was like over grass and things like that, so that was not fun dragging a case over that. Got into the hotel, and the guy was like, yeah, we don't have your booking. And I was like, well, I mean, I've got it here, it's on my phone, you know, it just must be a mistake, it's fine. So I showed him the booking confirmation on my phone and how much like they had quoted me and everything. Because it was like a pay at the property, so it was, you know, I just had to pay when I got there. And the guy was like, yeah, but we don't have this booking. And so I had to pay the walk-in rate, which was a lot more money than what I had actually like been quoted. So I mean, I wasn't actually wanting to take all that much extra with me. I wanted to leave like a lot in my bank account because obviously I needed to live when I got back and things. And that went out the window. So yeah, that was not fantastic. That was actually probably the worst part. Like at this point, I mean, I had been travelling for like 26 hours. I had been awake for even longer because I left at 2 a.m. in the morning and it was like 6 a.m. when I woke up that like the morning before. So I was tired. I mean, I was so done. And after like not getting that much rest on the plane because of the guy that was in front of me, and it was just, and the taxi driver missing the bus, all of that sort of stuff. And I was I don't know, I was scared as well because of course it was my first time travelling alone and things, and it wasn't a very good night anyway. And then like when eventually I just had to sort of deal with the fact that yeah, okay, they were charging me like so much more extra money, but it was going to cost me even more to find somewhere else. And I was like, well, I have to pay it. There was no other way around it. I had to pay all this freaking extra money. And I mean, I was basically crying handing over this money. But I put it on my credit card, and because I had to put some on my credit card and some on my bank card as well because, you know, that was that. And I put my credit card in and it only took half the payment. I didn't take, and then he says, well, I'm going to have to like charge it again and I can just give you a refund. I'm like, well, that'll take me over my limit and that would like charge me and things, so no. Like you can see it on my phone there, it came up saying payment, you know, half the payment. And at this point, like he was like, right, well, he had only been there for a couple of days. He says, can you come back at least and then like talk to the manager tomorrow morning? So that's what I had to do. I just had to get up the next morning, and I woke up at like 5 a.m. And I don't know if it was just because my body clock was, you know, still in UK time, because 5 a.m. there is 11 a.m. here, so it's like 6 hours difference. So 11 a.m. I'm always awake anyway, so it's like my body was still in that time zone. And I woke up at 5 a.m. and I was so just gutted at everything like that. I was messaging my family saying like, I just want to come home, I don't want to be here at all. I was so upset. And eventually anyway, I've just got a really, really itchy nose. It's back been with the cat hair. And so eventually I went down to see the manager and he said, oh, I found your papers. And I was like, oh, that's great, you know, you can charge me like what I was quoted. And he was like, no, because you're still charged as a walk-in rate. I'm like, but you have my fucking papers. So that was off to a bad start. And I mean, at this time I went back and I phoned British Airways to try and see like, can I get on like the first flight home? I just didn't want to be there at this time. I just didn't want to deal with all the crap of it, and it was going to cost me so much more money to come home, so much more money than what I had to, like the extra I had to pay for the flights, for the hotel. So I mean, it was just going to be more beneficial for me to stay there, even though I was already having such a bad time. It was just going to be more beneficial for me to stay. So I stayed, and I was really quite about it, but I got up and I went to the mall because the bus service, it took me from where I was and it took me to the transfer point at the mall, and then the transfer point took me to other places like up to Fort Worth and up to the Stockyards and things. So I just went to the mall, and I mean I actually had quite a good day. I went in, I had something to eat because I was starving. I had something to eat, and then I went round JCPenney's, which is like a big massive department store. We don't have that over here. We do have like things like Debenhams, but I mean it was nothing like JCPenney's was just absolutely amazing. I was in there for about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, just looking around everything. It was just amazing. I looked around other shops in the mall as well, which was also pretty cool. And I mean by this time I had been in the mall for like 4 hours, and I was like, right, I need something to do. So I went into the cinema that's in the mall, and I went and I was like, right, well, I'm going to watch Avengers Endgame. So I went in, and the first thing I smelled was pizza, and I'm like, holy shit, there's pizza here. So I went and got myself a pizza at the cinema, And then I also got myself, I mean, our cinemas don't really do stuff like alcohol or anything, so or pizza. And I mean, the standard chair, which was $5, it was a recliner chair. And I mean, our standard chairs are these little things that you have to sit like this in. I mean, like, there's no space or anything. So in their standard chairs have freaking recliners and everything like that. And I mean, obviously, Endgame, a lot of people have seen it now, so there wasn't that many people in the cinema. It was awesome. And I got this chair, massive big chair by myself. I had my feet up on the recliner, I had my pizza, and I had a frozen strawberry daiquiri, like a slushy, and it was so good. So tasty. So that was like the best cinema experience ever. Like, America wins cinema, hands down. America wins. And then I just went back to the hotel. I got myself something. No, I had the pizza, so I didn't have to eat anything else. And anyway, I went back to my hotel. That was fine. But when I was in the mall that day, I noticed that there was an aquarium, and I was like, "There's a fucking aquarium!" And in the mall, there's a fucking aquarium. So I was like, "Damn right, I'm going there." So the next morning I got up. I didn't get up too early. Well, I got up and had my breakfast. Because like breakfast was 6 till 9, so I got up at like 7:30. And went and had my breakfast. And then that was it. It was time to go to the mall to go to the aquarium. And I went in the aquarium. It was freaking amazing. I loved being in the aquarium. I got to pet an iguana. Yeah, iguana. I got to pet the iguana. You could actually go into like play with the otter as well, but when I went there was so many people like standing around to play with the otter. I was like, I'm not going to stand here all this time. I went and fed the birds. They had the amazing like colourful birds, and you could go in and they gave you like a little dish that had bird feed in it, and you just sat there, and they came over your hands. I mean, I had a cap on for like 99% of the holiday because it was just like, it kept my hair back, like away from my neck because it was so hot, and obviously covered my face, and it like kept my head from getting burnt too, which was awesome. So, and they were like all over my cap, and they were all over my shoulders and up my arms and stuff. And eventually there was only two sitting on my hand at one point, so I grabbed my phone and took a photo. I might at some points, by the way, just put photos up randomly here, like what I'm talking about, if I can remember, because I'm so bad at remembering things. But yeah, so I got to play with the birds, and they were so gorgeous. They were all like bright colours, like blue and yellow and orange, and they're just gorgeous birds. And then I got to pet some stingrays and feed them, and that was really awesome. I never actually got any videos of me feeding them, but I got to pet them, and I took a couple of like really like they were so derpy. Oh my god, there's something in my eye. But yeah, so they were so derpy, and they were actually really pretty cute. What else? Oh, I got to pet a fucking I can't remember if it's a turtle or a tortoise, the big ass ones that live for like so long. I got to pet one of them, and he was so super cool and just awesome, and I got to pet him. No, it was awesome. It was so cool. So, I mean, that was, I went through that pretty quickly. I've got so much more to tell you, and I know that I'm actually already like 20 odd minutes into this. So that was a really, really, really awesome day. I just grabbed something, because there was like the big food court in the mall as well. Just grabbed something from there and went home. No, home. Went back to the hotel. Because, like, I was by myself. I was like, there was no one there with me. It was just me. And I actually had been like scared so bad by people saying, don't go at night. Don't go out at night by yourself. And I mean, everyone over here was telling me that. People over there were telling me something completely different. They were saying, you know, you can just go into any place and like people will talk to you. But I had been like scared so much by what people were saying that I didn't want to. And I really should have, because I actually missed out on so much of like half my holiday was spent sitting in the hotel room just watching anime or reading my book or reading that like manga or something, because I was so scared to go out by myself. And I had also just watched Ted Bundy stuff, which was obviously a great idea before I went away to America by myself. So anyway, I missed out on a lot of the nightlife, which I'm really, really quite upset about actually, because I really, really wanted to see a lot of the nightlife. And so yeah, I was in my hotel for like most of the evenings. However, there was a swimming pool. So, I mean, most of the times I was back by like between 4 and 6, and at that time it was actually starting to get quite nice to go lie by the pool. So I would just like get back, put more sun cream on, and head out to the pool and just lie there and maybe read a book or go for a swim just to cool down, which was really, really awesome because it was like 30 odd degrees every day. So that was day 2 anyway. Can't remember what I'd done on day 3. I think I went to the zoo on day 3. Oh no, I went to the zoo on the Thursday. No, that was day. I don't know. Anyway, so like, I went to the zoo one day, and I mean the zoo. I mean the zoo's everywhere. There's a zoo, you know, like you see a lot of the same animals, but I got to get like up quite close and personal with quite a lot of the animals. There was actually these penguins that were like so derpy. There was ones that were standing all tall and proud, and I am a fabulous penguin. And like I was like looking at them all, and there was like all the tall fabulous penguins, and then there was this little one that was like looking at me, and I was like, honestly, I had laughed so hard. Luckily there was no one else in that part with me. I was absolutely standing there howling with laughter, and I took a little video. And it was like I just sort of scrolled over the penguins and landed on the derpy penguin, and it was just, oh, it was so funny. It was just his wee face. He was like, so funny. And I got to feed a fucking giraffe. Guys, I got to feed a giraffe. I mean, how often can like you say to someone, I fed a giraffe? It was so cool. And so that was again like super like awesome experience to be able to feed a giraffe. And I mean you weren't actually allowed to, but I petted his nose. And actually no one noticed when I had done it, but then like a kid done it as well, and they were like, "Don't pet the giraffe." So I was like, "Oopsie, sorry." So anyway, so I got to feed and pet a giraffe. I went back to the birds again because they were also in the zoo, and you could like go in with like it was like a stick that had like honey and birdseed on it, so you could feed them. And again, that was pretty awesome. I actually got a video of one bird that was just this greedy ass bird that was just like eating all of the stuff on my stick, but I was actually quite content, just sitting with this gorgeous little bird, and there was like a big tree that was just like filled with all the birds. Oh, I mean it was a really fantastic day. So hot though. The reason I went on the day that I did was because it was a lot cooler, and it was meant to be a lot cooler, and it was not a lot cooler, by the way. It went up to like 30, I think it got up to 34 at one point. Again, I'm, you know, redhead, pale. I'm a little bit, I'm tan me, you know. I'm not tan, but that's my tan. When you put me up against something white, I look quite okay. So yeah, that was that day, and actually it wasn't fantastic getting back because there was quite I mean, the walk was gorgeous, and again I'll show you a video. You walk along a river, well, I mean you can drive, obviously it's more fit for driving, but I was obviously getting the bus, so I had to walk along this river. It was about a 15-minute walk along this river, and it was absolutely stunning. I mean the water didn't look that nice, like don't swim in this water, like honestly it didn't look very nice at all, but it was just absolutely like the whole, oh, it was just stunning. So I walked back up to the bus, and like the bus stop had no shade or anything like that, and of course again ginger 34-degree heat, and I'm like, oh shit. And the bus was late, unfortunately. There had been an accident or something, and the bus was late, and the girl, I saw her drive down, and she was waving at me to try and tell me how long she would be, but you know, I was being a bit derpy and never actually even thought to look at her. And all the bus drivers were really super nice, and they were so helpful as well. But anyway, so she finally came, and it was like such a relief to get on the bus because it was so hot, and then the bus had air conditioning, and it was like a bus. I had to get a bus from the zoo up to Fort Worth bus station, and then from the bus station down to the mall, and then the mall to home. And it's actually, it sounds like it's a lot, and actually it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to actually get to the zoo by bus and everything, but I enjoyed it because I got to have a look at, I got to see everything instead. Like when you're driving, you're sort of concentrating on the road, whereas in the bus I could look around, I could like see all like everything that was around about me, because I mean first time in the States as well, it was just absolutely astounding seeing everything. So every day, even up to like the last bus that I got into the airport, the last train I got into the airport, I was still looking around absolutely everything, so excited to see everything. So anyways, that was that day. Fantastic day, absolutely amazing, apart from having to stand in the sun for so long. That was horrific. I got to talk to so many really awesome people at the zoo, and like the keepers and things were so nice, and they chatted away quite happily, like answering any questions that I had. I paid a snake that day as well, actually. I just paid all the animals. And then I went to the Botanic Gardens, which was something I've had been desperate to do since I found out it was going, well, since I just like found out about Acon, and that was like one of the first like big tourist attractions was these gardens. So I went, and of course it was June, so there was a lot of flowers that had already bloomed and died because it was so like into the hot season and things. Like the rose garden, there was no roses, but I mean even like the vines and everything and the way it was all laid out, it was absolutely gorgeous. And there was like a big thing that was leading up to like, it looked like a kind of a monument type thing, and the garden on the way up there was just absolutely gorgeous as well. And then like the thing that I'd been looking forward to the most for the whole, like, there was the Japanese gardens, and there were $7 to get in, which I was actually quite fine with paying the $7. Because I mean $7 isn't actually all that much in the grand scheme of things. It's about a fiver or something here, like £5. And I went in, and honestly, I can't even explain it. I probably sound really pretentious trying to explain it, but honestly it was like probably the most peaceful, relaxing, beautiful place that I've ever been in. There was these Japanese gardens. I will put like pictures up here and like, and whilst I talk about it, because it was just absolutely, it was gorgeous. And I mean they weren't massive, but it was quite a walk. I mean I was in there for about 2 hours by myself, and I had taken music in with me, and I was actually listening to the Naruto soundtrack, which actually went really, really well with where I was. But even like when I took my headphones out and just sat and just listened, because like you could hear like the koi splashing in the river, the pond, you could hear the birds, and you could hear the squirrels running around as well. I actually made a friend with a squirrel. I actually only took a very, very short video because I did take some videos and things, but I really just wanted to experience everything as well. So whereas I did want to share like the things that I'd seen, I also just wanted to just take it all in myself as well. So I got a short video of me with this squirrel, and I mean I got about this far away from the squirrel. I mean it did not care at all that. I mean it was kind of a bit twitchy, but I mean I got about this far away from him, and the only reason that he ran away, because I was quite happy just sitting watching this squirrel. It was just like picking at berries and things like that, and the only reason he ran away is because a kid came running towards us, and I was actually really quite gutted because I don't know, it was quite a cool moment. I mean okay, it was just a squirrel, whatever, but like to me, like the squirrels here, they just run as soon as they hear like the slightest thing, so you don't actually get to interact with them at all. And this squirrel was just, it was just there, and I mean it was really, really cool, like for me, just sitting, just like have this little tiny interaction with a squirrel, a fucking squirrel. I mean we get squirrels here, but I mean it was so surreal. And yeah, I fed the koi, of course. The koi were fucking massive. I mean there was a koi that was like this big. I mean, oh, they were so huge and amazing. But I mean I got like a $2 bag of fish food, and I just went around the pond feeding as many of the koi as I possibly could, and just sitting at different spots as I was going round and just taking in the atmosphere and taking in the peace and quiet. Because I mean like in the middle of Fort Worth, where it's like a massive big city, and there was just this absolute like piece of heaven just sitting in the middle of it. That was, I mean by far the biggest highlight. Well, no, actually wasn't like, oh, one of the biggest highlights anyway. Was the Japanese gardens. And honestly, as soon as I left, I was like, I want to go back. I just want to go back in. However, when I left, the bus stop was over the other side of the road, of course, and I mean it was like a really, really busy road. There was like 3 or 4 lanes on each side for this one road, and they were just like whizzing back and forward. I was like, I am not getting across that road. So I saw there was a set of traffic lights up the way, and I was like, right, I'll walk up there and I'll get the traffic lights across. So yeah, I crossed with the little green man, and sorry, I tried to cross with the little green man. I couldn't do it because there was traffic works at the other side, so the lights weren't working, and I was like, oh shit. So I was trying to like walk up to the next bus stop, and that one also there was other traffic lights. So I was like, well, I'm like, because of how far I had already walked, which was already about like 20 minutes, and again 32-degree heat, and I was like, right, well, I'm actually so close to the number, because like that was the number 7 into the bus station and I had to get the number 2 down. But where I was, it was actually faster for me to walk to the number 2 than it was for me to get the bus into the centre. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well just get the bus. So I did. I just like jumped on the first number 2 that I could find, and I went down and I ran into the mall, got myself, because I had bought myself a bottle of vodka, like a big litre bottle of vodka, because of course I wasn't going to go out, but like, I know like everyone's types of holidays are different, but our holidays are always like when you've done your activities for the day, you go for a drink. But of course I wasn't going out anywhere, so I was in my hotel room and I just had a couple of vodkas like sitting by the pool, which was awesome. So I went in, grabbed myself some juice, grabbed myself some dinner and went back to the hotel. And the first thing I done, again, run in, strip, put the swimsuit on, and I just went straight for the pool because it was so freaking hot. And that was awesome. So at the end of the day, that was like my favourite thing, was just getting into the pool. So that was that other day. I went to Hewlin Mall, which was apparently like the best mall, but I was really exhausted by this time. By this time I had been like up and around most of the time, and you know, up early, and I mean, although I was in my room for quite early in the evening, I was going to sleep quite early as well because I'd been up so early. So I was exhausted. I was really tired, and I didn't really enjoy that mall all that much because I was so tired. I can't even remember what I'd done in that mall. I just sort of wandered around. I went for something to eat. Went to the Disney store, that was quite awesome. There was also a geek store there as well, and I went and looked at all the anime stuff. Although there wasn't actually that much, there was just like one section that was for anime. So I done that, and then I went and grabbed a potato, like a baked potato, and just got the bus. Because again, I was so tired and I wasn't really enjoying myself that day, and just because I was so tired. So I got up and I went away, and I went back to the hotel. And that was a really short day, that one. So I got like quite a long time just sitting by the pool, which was really awesome. I was having like 2 showers a day as well, by the way, because it was so hot. And I went to Walmart, which, I mean, like getting to Walmart was a little bit more difficult because with the bus, it was number 91, which took you to the Stockyards, but it didn't like stop all that often. There was a stop that was really close to Walmart though, so I just jumped off at that stop and went in. And I had a nice, you know, wander around Walmart for a couple of hours. And I mean, Walmart's like our Asda, and it's actually Walmart runs Asda, which is the exact same type of store. But I mean, over there was just so much more of everything, and I had so much fun just wandering around and looking at everything and seeing all the different flavours that the Americans have, and that was really cool. And I had 4 bags full of food because of course, like, because I had to pay so much more money for the hotel, I didn't have as much money for food and things like this. So to save myself some money, I bought some food to make up little lunches and things like that, which not exactly the best thing, but what can you do? So I had 4 bags of shopping, and I was like, right, so I went onto Google and I found the closest bus stop. The bus wasn't for another like 50 minutes, so I sat in Walmart for ages. And then I left earlier than what Google told me to. I actually left quite a bit earlier because I was bored out of my tits. And I went to where Google told me the bus stop was, and there was no bus stop there. I was like, right, well maybe like, and I mean I went up and down trying to find this bus stop. I looked like a complete idiot standing by the fucking roadway, and I still hadn't found the actual bus stop. So I thought maybe it is a bus stop, but there's just no sign. And then the bus drove right past me. I was like, oh well shit. And the next bus wasn't for another hour. I had already been standing in the heat for half an hour. And I was just not having a very good time of it with all these bags as well. So I went into the first place that I could find, desperately trying to find a way to get like a taxi. And the guy had no idea what was. He actually thought I was talking about taxis, like the getting taxed on food and that kind of tax. And I was all right, sorry, cab. I mean a cab. Where, like, how do I get a cab around here? And it was like, oh, it's only Uber. And I was like, oh fuck, my bank charges me for shit like this when I'm abroad. So yeah, that wasn't great. I booked an Uber, and it was my first time getting an Uber by myself, and I was a bit freaked out as well, because there was a girl that was a couple of states over. She got into an Uber, and it turns out that the guy actually was sort of driving the same type of car and everything as the Uber, and she just got into this random guy's car and she ended up dead. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. So I was really quite freaked out, and like I was taking screenshots and sending them to my sister so she would know exactly like where I was and everything like that. And so I had my GPS on like the whole time I was there too. But anyway, he got me back to the hotel, no problem at all, and he was really, really nice, and he chatted away, and he was asking like everyone always asks so many questions about Scotland, especially the Highlands, and how many people actually wear kilts. I got that quite a lot as well. Sorry, I need to move again. Right. There we go. So I got back to the hotel no problem, and I had like bought myself some noodles and soup and things like that. So I had some dinner, cheap dinner, which was quite crap. Oh, that was another thing actually. The day that I went to the Japanese gardens, I went for Japanese food. I thought it was quite appropriate for it, and I love Japanese food. I'm just such a Japanese foodie. I just love all Japanese food. And there was a place called Tokyo Cafe. And I had been online and I had been looking at the menu, and it looked really awesome. And there was like a do you know the rolls that you, like the sushi rolls that you get, there was a rainbow roll, and it was so pretty. Again, I'll put a picture up. It was actually so pretty, and it was so delicious as well. And I also had some gyoza, fried gyoza with that, which was so tasty. I had been looking forward to it all day. I actually got off at the wrong bus stop. I was on Google, and by the time that I realised like that's my bus stop there, I pulled the little lever thing, and it was already past the stop. I was like, I am so sorry, I actually made that stop, but it's fine, just drop me off at the next one and I'll walk back. The next one was like 20 minutes later. I had to walk back, and it was like down the interstate as well. So I was just walking down like the centre parting thing in the interstate, and I was like, I shouldn't be here. But there was actually a cop car like that was around. And I think he must have seen that I was just a lost tourist, but there was like a pavement, so I mean you obviously could walk there. So I did walk there anyway, and by the time I got to the cafe I was just like so exhausted and hot and sweaty and disgusting. So I used the bathroom to sort of freshen up a little bit, and then I had my food, and it was so tasty. I bought ramen to take back as well, and that was so yummy. And so that was the end of that day anyway. So the Walmart day was a bit of a bust as well, because you know that wasn't fantastic. And what next? The water gardens. Oh my goodness, the water gardens were gorgeous. The water gardens, by the way, is right in the centre of Fort Worth. There's like urban water gardens, which is like fountains and things like this. Again, I'll put up things. And I mean, it was absolutely just outstanding seeing such a thing right in the centre of Fort Worth. And they were so pretty, and actually like there was ones that were called the Playfill water gardens, and it was like the big fountains that came up and out, and like the big mushroom ones, and it was absolutely amazing. But like when you walk down a certain path, because of the wind, you got sprayed with the cold water as well, which was just so good in the heat. Anyway, so I took a little lunch with me, and I went up and I sat and had my lunch beside the water gardens. And like that was the first one that I saw when you went in. There was like the still quiet water garden as well, which was just like, it was just a really pretty place to sit, because it was so quiet. There was actually no benches, which I was quite disappointed in, because that was the type of place where you could just go and sit on a bench and just sit there. And they didn't have any benches, which I think was a bit meh. But anyways, and then when I went up and I saw like a bunch of people standing, and I saw a wee bit of water falling, and I went up there, and I mean it just went so far into the ground, and you could walk down, and it was like these little stepping stones, and I'm so clumsy, and I was like, I am going to so fall going down here. I didn't fall, thankfully, which was great. But all these stepping stones down, and I got to the bottom of it, and it was just, see, looking up, it was just outstanding. Like I can't tell you how amazing it was, just standing in like in the middle of these falls. It was just amazing. So I was there anyway, and I was only there for a couple of hours. I actually sat, as I said, had my lunch, I read my book a little bit, and then I went to Sundance Square. Now Sundance Square is basically just like where the shopping happens. I obviously didn't have that much money, so I couldn't really go shopping, but I went window shopping, and at this point again I was so hot, and I was like, right, I just need something to like cold, like super cold to drink. And over here we have like Costa Coffee that you can go in and you can buy like frozen slushy drink things. And I went into Starbucks because I don't think there is Costas there, I couldn't see any. And there was like, they had nothing like that at all. I was like, well, fuck you guys then. So I went and found like, it was like this little smoothie place, and I mean the smoothie alone cost me $5 I was raging. I mean, you get in and you're like, well, you can't exactly say, well, that's too expensive, see you later. So I bought this mango one, but I mean, it was actually worth every single penny. It was absolutely delicious, and it was so refreshing as well. And I just went and sat in Sundance Square, and they had like the fountains where like the kids could play in, and so I sat there and just watched the fountains and all the kids running up and down, and they were having such a blast. It was really funny to watch. And I mean, I spent ages just wandering around as well, and that was a good touristy day, just like wandering around the city and seeing what was there, and that was pretty cool. I mean, by this time I'm also used to the buses, so I know that like the number 2 that took me down to the transfer centre was every 15 minutes, so you could literally just go and just stand and you would get a bus. And like down at the transfer centre back to my hotel was every half an hour, so I was either there for one getting there, or like there I could run and get myself something to drink and then come back out again. So that was great. But so that was a really, really good day. And like I went back to the Japanese gardens. I couldn't not go back just because of how amazing I actually found the Japanese garden. I mean, I did go around the Botanic garden a little bit as well, but I mean, I knew where I was headed. I was heading straight for the Japanese garden, and I mean, again, I went in there and I spent so much longer just sitting in the peace, and it was just, again, I can't explain exactly how amazing the Japanese gardens were. And there was bits like, I had went on a day where it was a little bit busy the first time, so the second day that I went it was actually a lot quieter, which was really good. There was these little stepping stones which were really, really, really cute. It's actually now my cover picture on Facebook as well, because it was just, I mean, I loved that area. But there were little stepping stones, you could walk over them, and I mean, the koi were literally right at your feet. They were so close to you, and it was just so, so cool. And so I fed them, and again, there was not really that many people around, so I could just, you know, jump over the stepping stones, and I took a little video and selfie, you know, of course I got to take a selfie. And again, that was a really awesome day, and I actually managed to get across the road coming home. The bus was only about 10 minutes late, but there was shade at this one. So that was great, by the way, having shade. Fantastic. And I also went to the Stockyards. The Stockyards, by the way, are basically cowboy town. It's all decked out like the old western type cowboy place, and there's like museums there as well, and that was really, really, really cool to like go in and see like all the old cowboy stuff. Loved that. I really did like the Stockyards. I'm not really into like bullfighting and stuff like that, but there was a lot of things about it. It was quite interesting to read, but it just kind of like made me feel a bit sad for the bulls. But I got to sit on one, like the big longhorns, and I mean the horns were massive. And I went up to the guy, and I was like, because like there was a guy standing, and there were steps like up to the bull, so obviously like, it was a, you know, you could sit on the bull. And I said to him, do you mind if I sit? How much is it? And he said, it's $5. I was like, $5 well spent. And he says, are you alone? I was like, well, yeah, I'm here alone. I was actually not telling anyone that I was alone all the time. But I was like, yeah, today I'm up here by myself. Today, you know, trying to make it look like I wasn't by myself all the time. And it was like, well, I'll take your picture. So I took a few pictures, and I posted a picture that was just me smiling at the camera. And sorry, really, really itchy nose. But there was also like the last picture I took, the bull started moving, and I was like, I'll put the picture up now. As you can see, I was looking a little bit worse for wear, because this bull started moving, but I mean it felt amazing. It was just so soft and so cool. But the guy was really, really nice. Took a bunch of pictures, and he let me sit up there for like 5 minutes, and then I got down, and then I went for something to eat. Now everyone had said you have to get Texas steak, like a proper Texas barbecue, proper Texas steak, everything, you know. So I did. I went into, there was a barbecue place there, I can't remember what it was called, but I went in there and got ribs and everything, and I got this beer that was like in this big fucking goblet that I actually had to hold it with 2 hands to drink it. I have little baby hands, by the way, but like I had to hold it in 2 hands because they were so fucking massive beer. And that only cost me like $15 for the ribs and everything and the beer, which I expected to pay a lot more for, by the way, just saying. And anyway, so, and like after I'd been round everything, there was I can't remember what they're called, the cow parade. I can't remember what it's actually called. They bring all the cows out and they walk them up and down the street, and you know, apparently it's really, really cool. But they only do it at 11 o'clock and at 4 o'clock, and by this time it was like, I think it was like 2:30, and I had done everything that I wanted to do. So I was like, do I stick around for another hour and a half doing what? So, because I'd already been around all the shops and everything, actually, I'd been around talking to everyone in the shops and everything, and I missed the 11 o'clock cow parade, so I had to wait till 4 for the next one, and then the bus after that, so I was like, nah. So I went, googled for the closest bus stop, went to the closest bus stop, and I was standing there, I was like, I am not comfortable. The place around, like, most of the places I'd been so far had been in the city centre and sort of in nice parts of town, whereas the bus for the Stockyards was in a really, really, really not good part of town. And I was standing there, and there was a lot of like rundown houses and things like that, which I know doesn't actually account for like a bad area, but I just got like a really, really bad vibe. And there was a lot of times, like, I mean, it was like 6 or 7 times cars slowed down and were like, hey baby, do you want a ride, and things like that, and I'm like, no thanks, I'm totally fine, thank you. Meeting a friend on the bus. I was not comfortable standing there. Like, it really, really made me feel really uncomfortable standing, and the bus actually was only about 2 minutes late, which was, I mean, 2 minutes late just getting on the fucking bus. So I mean, I finally got on the bus and I just chilled as soon as I got on the bus. It was just horrible. And again went back to my hotel and went in the pool. One of the biggest highlights of my holiday, excuse me, I mean, the Japanese gardens was like number one. It was just super, super, I can't explain how amazing it was. But anyway, so last year I done my first art commission for Rico Fajardo, who voices, well, the first one that I had actually really seen him in was Jackal and Fairy Tale. And I absolutely loved Jackal and Fairy Tale. Like, he was such a good bad guy, and like Rico's performance of him, I thought was that, like, that was one of the things that actually made the character for me, was the way that he played him. And I drew Jackal, and I posted him. I've showed you them all before, but I'll put them up here again. I drew Jackal and I posted it onto Twitter, and like, see, when, if I'm inspired to draw a character and it's actually like the actor's performance that makes it the most for me, I like to tag them in it and at least let them know like that I thought they were absolutely fantastic in that role, and I did. And then he messaged me, and I done a art commission for him, and I done 3 drawings for him, which again I'll put them up. I done the Jackal, but I'll put him onto the digital because it was just going to be too much of a nightmare scanning it to him. So I done 3 digital drawings, and I was really, really, really proud of them. And like, we chatted a little bit back and forward online, but when I was there I found out about how awful it was with the convention moving their dates and stuff, and he says like, we'll hang out. So I got to hang out with him for a while, which was it was pretty cool actually be able to meet him. But he took me to Funimation, the anime recording studio. Now, being an adult, going there was like really, really, really interesting and cool, because like seeing like behind the scenes, like how like the dubs are made and things like that was really, really quite interesting and cool. But also as like a total fangirl of anime. I mean, I love so much anime, and I got to meet a bunch of cool people. And so like, it was cool for 2 different reasons. Cool for being an adult, just seeing how like the dubs are made, but also cool being an anime fan and seeing again how the dubs are made. It was really quite awesome. I mean, we had other stuff that day, and it was a really, really good day. And again, that also is quite up there, but I think mostly because I actually just got to hang out and chill with such a cool guy. And that was on the Friday before I came home, so very, very close to the end of my holiday. And on the Saturday I had no plans, because I had done like a lot of stuff, like so much stuff, and I was like, I have no plans for today. And it was actually a really, really, like, I think actually, especially after having such a good day the day before and then having nothing to do on the Saturday, I was like, oh, this is shit. And I was really tired anyway. I wasn't feeling very well either, and I don't know, because of the sun maybe, or I don't know, I just wasn't feeling all that great. And yeah, so I didn't do anything, like literally nothing. I went to the pool for a couple of hours and that was it, and it was because it was really, really hot. And on the Sunday, that was me. I was leaving on the Sunday and I was so sad. I mean, I had such a blast. I mean, I've skimmed over quite a lot of stuff. I mean, there is some stuff that I want to keep to myself as well, just for memory's sake. And, but like, I have skimmed over quite a lot of stuff. But that was like the main highlights of the holiday. And it was just absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, I honestly almost shed a tear in the airport coming back. I actually sat in the airport coming back and I had a couple of white wine sangria, which is really, really, really good, by the way, just in case you're ever wondering. I had a couple of white wine sangria and it was really, really tasty, and I was just sitting there and I was actually, like, the guy, Jose was his name, and he was absolutely wonderful. This was at Applebee's, by the way. It was wonderful. He came over, he chatted quite a lot. I don't know if he was just wanting a tip or anything, but you know, it was great to talk to. I had a great time just chatting away to this guy, Jose, and it was just great to talk to. But and I was sitting telling him, and I just didn't want to go home. Like, I was actually sitting on my phone, looking at ways that I could just stay because I didn't want to leave. I really, really didn't want to leave. I mean, Fort Worth was just outstanding. Like, again, I can't even explain it. Like, everything just runs so much more smoothly there. Obviously I wasn't working, I was there for a holiday, so it might be different working there and driving there. But I mean, like, when I was in the car, because I mean, obviously I never drove there, but I was in the car with Rico and we were like in traffic, and I mean, the traffic was insane. Like, people were just like, but no one ever got angry. It wasn't like I'm going to jump in here to be an asshole. They were just like, that's the space I'll go in. It didn't seem like the asshole type driving. And like, there was just so much more there. And I mean, I know that, you know, they always say like everything's bigger than Texas, but like, I'm not meaning like size wise, I mean just like, there was just so much more everything. There was so much more, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm from quite a small town. Edinburgh compares absolutely nothing to Fort Worth, and again, I can't explain how amazing the place was, and I would love to go back. I mean, as I said at the start of the video, it was meant to be like a one-time trip. I would never go back, and now I would do absolutely anything to get back. I'm actually, like, I've got, next year I'm going away for my best friend's hen do. We're gonna, well, not really for our hen do, it's more just like a girls' holiday before the hen do. We're going away somewhere, and I mean, it's not going to cost that much, but it's still going to cost too much for me being able to go back to Texas next year. I'm also wanting to save up for going away to Japan, because I was desperate to go to Japan, which would be amazing, but I don't know. I mean, I'm completely speechless with how much of an effect it had on me. I mean, I completely fell in love with Fort Worth. Absolutely fell in love with Fort Worth. I'm so sad to actually be home. I mean, it's great, I get to see my cats and everything like that, which, by the way, my sister looked after my cats the whole time I was away. She's been having a really hard time with like with her own personal life and things as well, but she's got her own cats. She was moving house and there was my cats as well. Like, when I had first arranged to go away to Texas, I was meant to be, like, my sister was meant to be staying here for the 2 weeks, but her and her man split up back in January, so he was going to look after her cats and she was going to look after my cats. But of course, when they split up, she had to just, and I mean, it was too late for me to be able to afford to do anything else for the cats. No one else could take them for the 2 weeks, so she was jumping between my house and her house and moving house, and it was really, really difficult for her. And honestly, I cannot appreciate her more than ever now. It's just amazing what she's done for me. So anyway, I mean, as good as it was to get back to the cats, and I mean, I've got, like, my family here, we're now in the same time zone again, but I'm just so sad to be back. Not just because, like, you always have, like, the after holiday blues, but, and I always have like, everyone has after holiday blues, but this is, like, so much more different than any other holiday blues I've ever had. I mean, Fort Worth really has made, like, such a big impression on me, and I really am so sad to be back. And honestly, like, when I was sitting in the airport, I was like desperately trying to find ways that I could stay, as I said, and it was like how, like, because I'm a paralegal here, and it was just first out of curiosity. I was like, how much do paralegals earn like over there? And in Dallas they actually earn about £15,000 more than what I earn here. They earn so much more over there. And I mean, the living costs are a little bit more expensive, but actually not too bad. And I know that there's a firm that's in Dallas that is also in the UK, and I was like, oh, maybe I could see about them, like maybe getting like transfer me over there or something. And I was desperately just trying to find ways that I could stay. There's only two ways that I can actually move to America, and that's by someone sponsoring me to work over there. So that would basically like getting a job, getting them to pay a sponsorship for me coming over, which would be impossible, by the way, for anyone to do that, or to marry someone. And I was like sitting in the airport, right, I've got like 2 hours to find someone to marry me, come on. And it just left such an impression on me. Desperate to go back. I would go back in a heartbeat like that. I honestly would. I would quite like to see what it would be like to work there, but again, it's a lot of money, and it's just, for me just now, I just can't afford to do it, which makes me even more sad because I would really like to give that a go, and I would just love to be there again. Right now, even with the heat, it was really hot, and it was a lot hotter than it ever is here. But I didn't mind it that much because, I mean, okay, like there was times where I was standing outside and walking outside for so long in the heat. But I mean, if you're living and working there, you're in the house with air conditioning, then you're in your car, and then you're in your work that's got air conditioning. So I mean, like, you're never really, if you're working there, you don't really have to be outside that often. I mean, I'm home. I mean, as I say, I'm happy to be home. Happy to see my family, happy to see my cats. But it just, I mean, here just nothing compares to how it was over there. I just can't believe how amazing it was. I mean, everyone says to me, well, the States, you know, you'll love the States, it'll be great. But I mean, people say that about like when I went away to Rhodes and when I went away to Corfu, and they were like, oh, you would love it, it'll be great. But this, I mean, it absolutely blew my mind. Everything about it just blew my mind, and I'm so desperate to get back. Like, love to. I'm actually thinking like, oh, could I get a second job here, and then that'll like let me save up more money, and then maybe I can go to wait Texas again sometime really soon. And it's just silly. But yeah, so there was just so many awesome people to talk to. Like here, people kind of keep their heads down, they don't talk to you unless they really have to. Whereas like, we're standing at the bus stop, and I mean, I could literally just be standing doing nothing, and someone would find some reason to talk to me. They always seem to love my hair, which I got warned about actually. People said like they will love your red hair, love your accent as well. And a lot of people were really like, they seemed really quite excited to meet a like genuine ginger person from Scotland. So I mean, that was pretty funny as well, because like as soon as I started talking, they were like, oh my god, you're from Scotland, just keep talking please. And like there was actually quite a few times, like I wasn't really there, like I was like going to the zoo one day and going to the gardens another day and things like that. But like when I was waiting for the bus, I had no time frame to be there for. Like if I turned up there at 9 AM it was fine, if I turned up at 1 PM it was fine. So like I was standing at the bus quite a few times, and there was people that were standing waiting for a different bus, and I would just stand and talk to them, and I would miss my bus, but it was just great just sitting and talking to all these different people. And it was all about like touristy things, like where are you from and what's it like there, and like what's the differences and things like that, which again I think was one of the best things about when I met up with Rico. We just sat and chatted about like other stuff, not just like touristy things, or maybe I talked to some tourists, but like we just got to like just chat, which after talking about touristy things like for like most of the 2 weeks, it was just good to just chat to somebody. I did actually have someone, because I've got the Attack on Titan Wings of Freedom on my back, and I had it covered for most of the holiday because it was so hot. I didn't want the sun to damage the tattoo, but there was a couple of days where I had it on show, and there was this one day I was standing at the bus stop and I had the tattoo on show, and I just said, holy shit, and I turned around and I just like Attack on Titan saluted me, and I was like, oh shit dude, hey. I slid him back, and we talked for like an hour about anime, which that was awesome. This guy actually was late to work. I felt really sorry for him. But yeah, so I mean that's my highlights of my holiday. Texas was amazing. I will be absolutely be back as soon as possible, and I'm gutted to be back. Like genuinely so gutted to be back. Again, it's all something to see like my family and things like that. But and the flight back as well. I spoke to this guy. His name was JT. Well, I don't actually know what his real name was, but he introduced himself as JT, and he was traveling to France. Like he was like going from Dallas to he was coming from somewhere else. Is it California? Somewhere like that. He came from wherever that was into Dallas, and he was traveling Dallas to London, then London to France, because he managed like off-road races and things like that. So he was he was just fabulous to talk to. So fascinating, and we chatted, and then we got up in the air, and that was time we were going to sleep and things, and we had a wee chat through dinner, and then again it was like headphones back in and just go about your business. And then when we landed as well, we had a wee chat when we landed, and he was really, really awesome to talk to. And again, that's another thing, like you're sitting on a plane, and I've been on quite a few planes beside random people, and none of them talk to you. Like coming from the UK and things, no one talks to you. Whereas like on the flight back from Texas, I met this JT, and he was fantastic. And I mean, you're on the flight with this person for like nearly 10 hours, so I mean it's great to be able to talk to them, which he was awesome. And then like I was in London for like an hour and a half. I had time for like a cider, and that was pretty much it. And I got on the plane, and oh no, that guy wasn't from California. I can't remember where he was from. Like it was from somewhere else anyway. And anyway, I got onto the flight to London, and again it was only about an hour or something. So you get in, and a couple sat down beside me, and again I put my headphones in, and I just went straight to sleep because I was so tired. And I woke up when the plane was starting to land, because that feeling woke me up. That feeling. That woke me up when we were landing. And the girl beside me started chatting away, and it turns out she was from California, and her partner, and they were visiting relatives in London. I didn't catch what their names were, and then we chatted like from the descent right down until we actually got off the plane. And I was bursting for the loo, and I'm actually really gutted that because I mean I just say so, listen, I really hate to go, I'm dying. And I ran to the toilet, and I never actually got to say goodbye to them or anything like that. And they were really, really, they were a nice couple, and they just chatted. But again, that was one of the things, like, she just started a random conversation with this random person on the plane. I don't know if maybe also because I was by myself, more people spoke to me. It was just, it's just, again, unheard of, people doing these sorts of things over here. So, and that was awesome. I mean, everyone just so nice, so talkative. I mean, there was obviously probably not nice people there as well, but I just happened to meet quite a lot of nice people. So yeah, that was my holiday anyway, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And again, devastated to be here. I mean, Scotland's gorgeous. I love Scotland, you know, proud Scottish girl, but it just didn't compare. I mean, nothing compares like to the experience that I've just had. It was just absolutely astounding. But anyway, I'm going to go because I've been speaking for so long. My throat's actually sore. And yeah, so my cats have loved me for so long. They've actually, Lulu missed me so much. She's never left me alone. And whilst we're going away, I'll put up some, you know, like some nice pictures of her if I remember. So anyway, if you like this video, and I know it's been so long since my last video, well, my last vlog anyway, I've been putting up drawing pictures, but if you want to see more videos, again, I don't really do much with my time, but if you want to see more videos and just hear me talk about whatever, let me know in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button below, subscribe for more, and I'll hopefully see you guys the next time. And I'll keep you all up to date if I am actually going to be doing this more regularly again. I do actually enjoy doing my videos, to be honest. But let me know, and just let me know if what you want me to talk about, if you want me to talk about something specific. But anyway, so I will see you guys all next time. Bye!
This love that you never started.